Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first Q&A answer segment video for this week, leading up to The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3. And our first question comes from YouTube username Cortez, and he asks, Trev, do you think The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 16, the finale was called A because Carl nearly got F'd in the A? I had to put it in because it was like the most thumbed up question from last week. So anyway, there's that. So the answer, no, of course. No, it's a joke question anyway, but rhetorical, I guess. But no, there was an A on the door. So anyway, that's Season 4. Let's focus on Season 5. So if you guys have any questions, I'll probably do at least one more Q&A leading up to Episode 3 from The Walking Dead Season 5 this weekend. So I'll do one today, probably one tomorrow, maybe something else on Sunday. I don't know. There's some other stuff going on. So I've got some other videos coming. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, please send them to me and I'll try to add them to the list and I'll get to whichever ones I can. If I get really good ones, I try to include those, but a lot of times it just comes down to timing, when I make my list, when I can do filming, because of course I can't wait until Sunday since the next episode will be airing Sunday and the questions may not make sense anymore. So that said, if you guys have any other questions you want to send me for tomorrow's or the next days, please private message them to me. Please don't be offended if I don't respond to you. I do look over them, but I just don't get time to answer everybody's. I'm very crunched for time, and it pretty much comes down to, am I filming or am I answering private messages or comments? And I could literally sit here all day and just answer comments and and private messages, but then I wouldn't have any videos, which I don't feel is really what the channel is all about. So I try to talk with you guys as much as I can, but please don't be offended if I don't get to you. It's just too many comments, too many private messages. That's all there is to it. Anyway, first question for this week comes from TheSensationGamer, and he asks, who do you think is driving the car that took Beth? And then he makes a prediction. He says, my prediction may be Morales or far-fetched and crazy, but Morgan? Thoughts? Question. That's a really, really good question because I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Beth, and I think we're going to see it in a couple episodes. I predicted about episode 4. I feel like that's probably when we're going to see Beth. So I'm sticking with that prediction. I think that's when we're going to find out for sure. But it does look like to me Morales is going to be returning. Now, it could have just been the actor who plays him just having some fun. But to me, it seems like they're trying to bring in a lot of the older characters. So as I talked about in my Q&A last week and in the video, I think he's going to come back. So seeing him as a part of that type of community could be really cool, especially if he's in an important role, either being a leader of that group or even if he's just some kind of like high-level ranking type survivor in that group, because that's a weird group from what we've seen in the trailer. You can see them, Beth's got like casts and stuff. It's like a hospital, but they're like cutting people, and what are they doing? What's this? She's part of something bigger than herself. Are they trying to come up with a cure? Are they using people as test subjects or something like that? Are they a bunch of wannabe Eugenes, I guess, that don't really know what they're doing and trying to, I don't know, figure something out with regards to what's going on with people and grab these survivors and take them back and do what they want with them and just test on them as if they don't have any kind of feelings or anything, or if they aren't human beings, like lab rats sort of thing. So I could see them including Morales in that. Morgan, I don't think so. People have asked me this question. I think it's a later question here. I saw it somewhere. Whether or not I think Morgan's going to be like a good guy or bad guy coming back, if he's going to join Rick's group or maybe even another group, a different group. I tend to think that he will. I tend to think that he'll be a good guy. He'll join Rick's group. I don't think he's going to be wanting to kill anyone from Rick's group. I don't think he's aligned with any other group at this time. I don't think so. We see him by himself. I don't think there's any reason to believe that he isn't kind of out looking for Rick, trying to see if he can find him, because you got to consider that Morgan was on his own for so long. He really doesn't have much of a reason to live after everything. He's lost everything. He's just surviving. So Rick is one of the only people I would say he probably knows and he probably trusts, with how crazy he is last time we saw him, that I think he's trying to find Rick, and I don't think he's going to be a bad guy. I think that would really, if they went that route, I would be not offended, but I wouldn't like it very much. I wouldn't be a big fan of that if they went that route. So who's driving the car that took Beth? It could be that female officer. It could be I don't know. Anybody like that, maybe Gabriel's connected in some way, although I kind of doubt it, but it's possible, I guess. So I guess we're going to have to just wait and find out. It's most likely, more likely than not, it's a new character that we don't know anything about. Not one from the comic books, not one from anything prior, probably just somebody totally new. So that's what I think. That's my prediction. It's going to be someone new. But I hope Morales is involved in that group because I want to see him again soon. I think that'd be just cool. But like I said in that video, I don't think his family should survive or would still be alive. I don't think that's realistic. Next question comes from Stella Winchester, and she asks, do you think Rick and or the group, the survivors, I guess she's talking about, will become cannibals? There are countless rumors that the Hunters and Rick's group will eventually do a pair-up, or so that's what I've heard. Would it be possible they might become cannibals during the apocalypse? Well, this is one that's primarily led by the trailer, which I believe... My predictions on that is I don't think they're going to join groups at all at this point, even though after watching the trailer initially, I thought that might have been where they were going with that. I think Gareth may capture Eugene or some members of Rick's group and try to talk them into going with him. But I don't think that the whole groups will join up, especially after what he's done already to Bob. That's irreversible. That's terrible, you know. Also, what he was doing at Terminus, I don't see him and Rick ever seeing eye to eye regardless of the circumstances. Could they somehow write it in and make it make sense? It'd be tough, but I personally don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we'll ever see that. In terms of Rick's group being cannibals themselves, they just found a lot of food and a lot of supplies, so I don't think we're at that kind of a stage yet. Now, if they kill Gareth's group, I could see them doing something like that to Gareth's group because, you know, of course, Gareth's group did that to them. But I don't know. That would be really weird if they went that route, and it'd be kind of risky because then it would adjust how people view Rick's group. I think the hold him down comic book approach is good. If you guys have seen my top 10, I believe it was top 10 most anticipated moments for the upcoming season. Maybe it was top 5. I forget. I do so many videos. I don't even remember sometimes. I'll tell you the truth. But yeah, the video's on the channel if you want to check it out. My number 1 most anticipated moment for this season is going to be the hold him down from Rick. But I don't think they're going to eat him after they kill him. If the survivors kill Gareth's group, I don't think they're going to be eating them afterwards. No, I don't think so. They could do that, but it'd be weird, wouldn't it, to see Rick chowing down on somebody like Gareth, like eating his face or something? It'd just be weird. Well, he has bitten guys before, right? So yeah, so I guess it's I don't know. I don't think they'll do that. No. Next question is from Bryan Karman, and he asks, why do you think Carl is still shooting walkers? Shouldn't he be saving bullets? Yeah, that's a weird one. I noticed that too this season, is that when they were walking through some parts, they had their guns up as if they were going to fire their guns as they're walking into different locations and things like that. Now, they may have taken a good, a good amount of ammo and stuff from what they had left over from the prison, and maybe even a little bit from Terminus, from some of the guns they boosted and stuff like that. But you're right. They probably shouldn't be wasting any bullets unless they absolutely have to. They should only really use bullets on the living, which is Negan's theory from the comic books. Or not theory, but strategy, is that you don't want to waste bullets on the dead. You want to save your bullets for the living, or if a herd comes through and you have no choice. Otherwise, you shouldn't waste them at all. But Carl's just a kid, so it's going to be hard for Carl to kill walkers without a firearm, don't you think? I mean, just overall, think about it. He's pretty small, so it'd be tough. Especially the one in the water that grabbed Bob. Did you see how big that one was? Like 6 foot something zombie. Next one's from Jimmy Cool Cook, and he asks, do you think that if Bob was bitten, that Terminus people will die before Rick and his group catch up to them? And if so, do you think Bob could escape when they turn? Well, okay, so I think he's referring to, the real question here is, because they were eating part of Bob, and if Bob was bitten, will they die as a result of that? I don't think they'll die as a result of that because he hasn't totally burnt out yet and totally turned zombie. If they were to eat a zombie, I think they would die. All of them would get sick and die. But I think in this case, Bob, it's not late enough, so Bob is still alive, so he's not totally dead. So I don't think they're going to become infected if they eat tainted meat. Also, I don't think that's going to last too long. I don't think they're going to eat his whole leg. In other words, I think he's going to let them know. I think he's about to let them know by the time the next episode starts. Next question is from Nightwolf, and he asks, why is it going so fast? Why is it still driving around near Terminus and that initial area. Surely a group like the Termites or Woodbury or something would have stopped or seen this car before. I think, oh right, he's talking about the car that Daryl and Carol saw. So is it realistic? I think what he's really asking is it realistic that they would have never run into Terminus or Woodbury or anybody else? Well, we've seen a lot of group activity in that, type of area, because that's an area where the population is pretty low and there's a lot of supplies around. So like you had the prison, you had all these other things around there. So they're not at a city like Atlanta or New York or something. Like in New York, you probably wouldn't see any survivors in a real zombie apocalypse if it was to really occur, let's say, just hypothetically. So now the fact they haven't run into each other, it does seem a little bit strange. But when you consider that if the other group knew about Terminus, if they saw Terminus, they would probably want to stay away. They would not want to get people from there because there's too many people. They would be stirring up a hornet's nest, and they wouldn't really want to do that. They would want to be picky and choosy. If they see one person by themselves, especially like female and young like Beth, they can grab them really easily, not too much fight back. If it was somebody like Daryl or somebody like that, they may think twice. So I think they kind of they probably have run into each other before, or at least seen each other. They probably know of each other, but that doesn't mean they want to start a war with each other, because they have so many, each community has so many members that they wouldn't want to, because the risk is too great. They'd want to pick on single people that are by themselves or with a couple people, I would think. So for the people they take back, and then whatever they're doing to them, test on them or whatever. Yeah, but good question. Yeah, why is it going so fast? I don't know. There's no speeding tickets in the zombie apocalypse. There's no zombie apocalypse police, so I guess I don't have to worry about it. Plus, even in real life, people love to drive way faster than they probably safely should anyway. So in a zombie apocalypse, it would just get worse. Yeah. So next question. We'll finish up soon. Got a couple more. Do you think Carol was planning on leaving the group when Daryl saw her putting things in the trunk of that car? Well, I think, and this is from Smack's Lab, so thank you, good question. I think Carol at this point is very intelligent with regards to surviving. I think she's, like with what happened with the governor, I think she's figured out that you need to have a way to get away if you have to. If you have to abandon ship, you need to have something nearby in case you have to leave. So that church, for example, if a herd was to come through, they would not want to stay in that church unless they were able to just hunker down and be really, really quiet for a while. If someone attacks like the hunters, because she knew what the Terminus guys were all about, she got to see a bit of what they were and how many survivors there were. I think she was prepping that car to have it all ready to go in case they had to get away. However, she did go off by herself, so I can see where you're coming from, and Daryl kind of going after her, kind of trying to understand, which was shot pretty well. I thought it was the hunters trying to grab her or something. Why she would want to leave. Like he was following her and kind of asked where she was going. I think at this point maybe she feels like an outsider because she's used to being on her own. She was on her own for a while. Quite a while, actually, if you consider in terms of season time. She was on her own for a long time. So, yeah, I would think at this point she kind of just, maybe she feels like an outsider, or she's just trying to, I don't think she was going to totally leave the group. I don't think so, especially with the baby and stuff and everything. I think she's just trying to take precautions because she knows that they started some stuff, a lot of stuff, and especially her, with the people of Terminus, the people they killed and everything. She's probably just getting ready, I think. So those are my thoughts. I mean, you could see it too as that she was leaving and Daryl actually got her in the middle of it. But maybe, who knows what she had in mind. It could be anything. She could have been thinking to go on, maybe take off and go check and see what was going on, or just drive around for a while and see if she could see anything about the people that were possibly following or whatever. Because it was her and Daryl, if you remember, that thought someone was watching them. So maybe that got her freaked out, and she kind of figured that the Terminus people or the hunters were tracking them or trying to come after them afterwards, which makes a lot of sense, right? But I don't think she was going to leave the group. No, I don't think so. And last question, or just comment really, is from Tristan Kelly, and he or she, not sure, asks who my favorite villain is so far from the television series between the Governor, Gareth, and Shane. With this one, I'll probably leave that to a certain time after we've seen everything that Gareth and the hunters have to offer. once we get to about the mid-season finale and the mid-season finale airs and we've seen everything from the Hunters, if their storyline is over at that point, then I'll do a villain comparison at that time and give my thoughts on who's been the best villain so far between Shane, the Governor, and the Hunters. Also, you got to include some of the others too. You got to include Joe's group in there, right? So there's other villains too that we've seen throughout. Dave and Tony, I don't know. Randall's group, I don't know if you want to count them, but there's been a lot as we go through. Jenner wasn't really a villain. The Vatos weren't really villains, but who's just answering the question, who is the best villain so far? I'll do that after the mid-season finale, but I will do it. You have my word. I'll write it down for sure. Anyway, thank you guys for the awesome questions. I'll need some more because that's all I got so far. So send them to me, and that way I can do another Q&A probably tomorrow or the next day. Anyway, if you guys like the video, if you like the Q&As, please let me know. Please thumb it up below so I know to keep doing them. And yeah, that's it for this kind of random questions, whatever people are thinking. Get your thoughts out there, and I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. As always, it's Trev, saying peace.